Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? September 7, 2023, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. While the Department of Justice is actively investigating the Fulton County, Georgia jail over its conditions and treatment of inmates, more inmates are dying. 10 have died so far this year. One of the latest, Samuel Lawrence, died days after he filed a handwritten prisoner civil rights complaint about the conditions and abuse by the guards. We'll talk to the Lawrence family attorney about what the independent autopsy revealed. Georgia DA Fani Willis claps back at Congressman Jim Jordan in responding to the congressman's demand that she turn over her communication records with Justice Department officials in her election fraud case. We will show you her 9-page letter. A Black Pittsburgh lawyer is suing a judge for jailing him for not following his orders to negotiate a civil rights lawsuit. Former NFL football player Walter Bernard will be here to tell us exactly what happened. Contract employees at the federal government's largest call center threaten to strike during federal insurance renewal unless they get higher wages and better benefits. We'll talk to a few of the Maximus employees about their demands. Also, Peter Navarro, he going to jail. He was found guilty today for contempt of Congress. And the SBA 8A program is in jeopardy after a white woman sues, complaining that she was unable to apply, even though she got $4 million in contracts from a women set-aside program. I told y'all what these white folks had planned. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on Go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, Rolling with Roland now.
What the hell is going on in the Fulton County Jail? This year, 10 inmates have died in that jail. The DOJ has opened a civil rights investigation into jail conditions in that jail, citing violence, filthy conditions, and the death last year of a man whose body was found covered in insects. Recently, Samuel Lawrence was found unresponsive in his cell at the jail on August 26, days after he filed a lengthy handwritten prisoner civil rights complaint regarding the conditions and abuse by prison guards. I'm in a, quote, I'm in a cell in isolation with no water, no working toilet. I'm sleeping on a hard metal floor, and then they decreased my food. Lawrence later died at Grady Memorial Hospital. The coroner has not released Lawrence's cause of death. However, his family had an independent autopsy and found disturbing marks on his body. Joining me now is Sheba Terrell, the Lawrence family attorney, as well as a number of family members. First and foremost, Sheba, there was this independent autopsy. What did it reveal? Sheba? Sheba, can you hear me? Sheba, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, Kenneth Muhammad, my apologies. Kenneth Muhammad, yes, Kenneth, can you hear me?
I'm here, I hear you, and thank you for having me on.
So what did this independent autopsy reveal?
Well, so far we have evidence that he was the victim of a physical assault. There are injuries to his chest. There are bite marks and that show that they were made within a week of the time of his death. And they were also able to confirm that he had eaten food within 2 hours of dying. We have just this preliminary information from the private autopsy, but we're awaiting final autopsy reports from the county as well as from the private autopsy that was received by the family.
So how long after he passed away was his autopsy done? Kenneth?
Well, the date of death was August 26th. Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. He died on Saturday, August 26th, and the county actually began within the day, the next day, from the information that we received. So it was pretty quick that we started. That they started the process at the county. I can't tell you the exact date that the independent autopsy began, though.
We have several family members here, and so I need to know who's the one person going to be speaking. What I'm curious about is he wrote this letter when he was talking to family members. When was the last time y'all communicated with him, and what did he say about the conditions?
He talked his grandmother is when 2 weeks before his death is when he shared some things that was going on in the jail. So 2 weeks before his death.
And what did he share?
Told her that the officers and the inmates were abusing and terrorizing him and bullying him.
And that was in a phone call to his grandmother?
That was in a phone call to his grandmother.
What was he in jail for?
He was in jail for arson, alleged arson.
And was bail given? Was he unable to make it? What happened there?
Was not given until they said April. We did not know that he had a bail.
So how long has he been? How long was he in the Fulton County Jail?
From December 26th.
So he was in the Fulton County Jail for 8 months.
8 months. Yes.
Kenneth, as I said, the DOJ is investigating, and what's disturbing here is, I mean, it's not usual for 10 people to die in a county jail. This isn't even a full year.
Right. Yeah. If we back up, part of my practice is criminal defense. I handle civil rights cases, but I also handle criminal defense. I have clients that are in the Fulton County Jail now saying to me all of the different things that are going on to them where they are fearful for their lives. So one of the things that's happening is inmates are able to access other inmates' cells. And so one of the things that Samuel reported was that a group of inmates actually popped open the door to his cell on one instance, and an altercation ensued at that point. And in the written report that he gave, he indicated that he suffered a bite mark at that time. Now, the autopsy report is showing that there's evidence of bite marks, so that's showing that the report that he gave, the written report that he gave is so you have you have instances where reports are given to deputies about attacks and the deputies doing nothing. You have reports of deputies themselves assaulting inmates. Samuel reported that he was the victim of excessive force on multiple occasions. On one instance, he was handcuffed, and while handcuffed, he was improperly pepper sprayed, kicked, and stomped. As I indicated, I've been dealing with issues with regard to safety at the Fulton County Jail from a number of my clients over the last months. There is another young man named Monte Stinson who died on just August 1st of 2023. And the circumstances surrounding his death are where the officers actually reported that he was counted in his cell alive, but when some information came about the time of his death, it showed that he would have had to have already been dead at the time that they reported that he was alive. You have, after Samuel's death, you have another death that took place just a few days later on August the 31st. And so what it looks like is attacking it. Groups of people are are overlooking these incidents, and deputies themselves, from some reports, are actually attacking inmates also. So in these situations, what we have to do is, gather all of the evidence, see what the autopsy reports show, and hold the county accountable. But there are things that the county can do to remedy these situations. In all of these instances involving law enforcement, whether it's inside of custody or outside of custody, there is the technology with regard to cameras, really put us in a situation where a lot of these things that people are suffering don't need to happen. So there shouldn't be 1 square inch in the Fulton County Jail outside of the cells themselves where 24 hours a day, if something is reported to have happened, it isn't able to be seen on some video recording. There should be monitoring of all of the different corners of the jail at all times.
So the question I have for his family members, have y'all communicated with elected officials, Fulton County commissioners? I mean, the reality is you have the sheriff there, but they also oversee the jail. And so have y'all had any communication with elected officials?
No. They have not reached out. No.
Okay.
He talked with the chaplain, but that's it.
All right. We certainly are sorry for your loss. This is another one of the troubling stories coming out of Fulton County, and we'll certainly keep our eye on this story. Thank you so very much. Kenneth Muhammad, thank you as well.
And also...
Excuse me?
Just wanted to reiterate back on the private autopsy that the family paid for was done August 30th.
Got it. Okay. We certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Folks, got to go to a break. We come back. We'll have more on Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network. Back in a moment.
President Biden has delivered for Black America. More funding for Black entrepreneurs. Millions of new good-paying jobs. He's lowering the cost of medications and the cost of living. Joe Biden is delivering for us, and that's the facts.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is roland@rolandsmartin.com.
Next on The Black Table with me, Greg Carr. What do Deion Sanders, a lawnmower, and the phenomenon of invisible labor all have in common? They're all now part of, shall we say, a colorful lore at our historically black colleges and universities. Our Master Educator Roundtable convenes to explain it all as we explore the good, the bad, and the downright ugly of one of Black America's national treasures. That's next on The Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
Hey, what's up? It's Sammy Roman.
Hey, it's John Murray, the executive producer of the new Sherry Shepherd Talk Show.
It's me, Sherry Shepherd, and you know what you're watching, Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Introducing my panel on today, Greg Carr, Department of Afro-American Studies at Howard University, Reese Colbert, host of the Reese Colbert Show, Sirius XM Radio out of D.C., Long Victoria Burke, Black Press USA, on to Virginia. I'll start with you, Greg. It is crazy to me that 10 people dying in a jail in a year has not attracted more attention. This goes to show you how there's this thought process in this country where people who are in jail, who are being held, people who have yet to even go to trial, are seen as afterthoughts in America.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, we're going to continue to say this as the numbers continue to swell of people who are paying attention not only to this case but to this platform. That this is why independent, hard-hitting, black-owned, black-controlled, black story-anchored media, news media, is invaluable. If this were 10 white people dead in a jail, I suspect there would be a lot more noise around this. We all remember and are familiar with the name Khalif Browder and what happened to him on Rikers Island. When we start talking about double digits of people dying in short order, and when Attorney Muhammad then named Monte Stinson, and then, who made transition on the 1st of August, and then another death on the 31st of August, sandwiched between Lawrence's death, you know, this brings really into focus the fact that the 8th Amendment is just words on a piece of paper. What is cruel and unusual punishment? What is false imprisonment or holding somebody without giving them access to bail? The family couldn't even say. As you said, this man was in prison for 8 months, and the family couldn't even determine when he was eligible for or had in fact been eligible for bail. So we're talking about a situation where it's the Wild West. Prisoners having access to other rooms? Is there a conspiracy going on? What are the range of charges? Is there criminal behavior? Is there neglect? In other words, you've got a situation where people are being punished. This is capital punishment. I thought the 8th Amendment meant something, but apparently not in the state of Georgia, and less in the United States of America.
The thing here, Lauren, when I think about when Jay-Z's Rock Nation, Tamika Mallory, Rakia Lumumba, and others, when they were protesting in Mississippi, this Parchman prison, later there was a documentary that was actually done about this as well. I mean, very similar conditions. And again, what I'm looking at is I just don't see there being a lot of attention being paid to what's happening there in Fulton County. Obviously, lots of attention when Trump and 18 others were indicted, and other stories along those lines. But literally 10 folks are dead this year, and it's sort of like,
That's right. And the reason for that is, of course, deeply political. Politicians get elected saying that they want to lock people up and throw away the key. Politicians make money, raise money, get elected, talking tough on crime. Politicians have been getting elected on the war on drugs, the whole atmosphere of bragging about being tough on crime has gotten a lot of politicians, Democrat, Republican, elected. So people who are incarcerated have nobody to stand up for them in the political realm. There's nobody. It would have to be an activist. There's very few politicians who will get out there and stand up for the rights of people who are incarcerated. The fact that in most jurisdictions they can't vote. State of Florida, you can't vote even after you're out. Virginia, the same thing, effectively. You know, if you have a felony record, you can't get your right to vote back. Nobody cares about this constituency. We had somebody who was a homeless woman who was 73 years old die in Arlington, Virginia, last week, 73-year-old homeless person that died in the jail, one of many in Virginia. And of course, this Fulton County situation is outrageous. But who is going to stand up for these people? We are a country who doesn't care about poor people. We don't care about homeless people. We have no policy for people who have no money. And these politicians out here have no real answers. And while we send billions overseas to do whatever in whatever other country, these problems get worse and they grow. But the issue of incarceration, the war on drugs, is what drives this moment where you could have 10 people die at the same facility and nobody do anything about it.
It's, to me, Reese, it's not enough to wait for the DOJ. What the hell are the Fulton County commissioners doing? Well, I know what one is doing. One is spending her time in court because she had an affair with her chief of staff, and then she allegedly put a tracking device on his car after they broke up. So we know what she's doing. But what the hell these, I mean, if you are a Fulton County commissioner, your ass should be telling the sheriff, how in the hell are you not doing a massive check on this jail? In fact, those commissioners should themselves be going through that jail and examining the conditions there.
I agree, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, these are people that are not in there for life sentences, except for the fact that they end up dying due to inhumane conditions. And so for the sake of public safety, you think people will be invested in making sure that people who are eventually going to re-enter the population will do so without the trauma and the horrors that they've been inflicted upon being in prison. But I think as a society, we haven't decided what real punishment means and what kind of rights people deserve, the level of humanity people deserve even while they are incarcerated. People are very much indifferent to that because people are more concerned about, you know, dodging bullets or dodging whatever kind of crime people perceive to be surging in their areas. And so this is really a stain on our entire society and how we treat people to get to the point to where people are locked up. A lot of people are incarcerated on pretrial detention because of the bail laws and a lack of reform there. And so this is a multi-pronged issue, but I saw that the sheriff's statement was about underfunding for the jail and needing new facilities. I don't think this is as much a facility issue as it is a humanity issue and a willpower to actually do something about the level of incarceration we have in Fulton County specifically, but in this country in general.
Go to my iPad to control room. This is what I want. I want to call every single one of these commissioners, and I want to see who has the guts to come on this show tomorrow. And so Rob Pitts, he's the chair, he's black. You got Bridget Thorne, Bob Ellis, Dana Barrett, a black woman, Natalie Hall, a black man, Marvin Arrington Jr., a black woman, Khadija Abdul-Rahman. Call every single one of them and also call the sheriff, because they should be supplying some answers as to what the hell is going on there in Fulton County. This makes no sense. To me, you already have a person who died covered by insect bites. Okay, you got this guy complaining about no water. Well, they should be doing a check and seeing, Do you have running water in every single damn prison cell? What's going on with working toilets? This is real basic. And if you have these allegations of abuse by prison guards, where in the hell is Governor Brian Kemp? Where in the hell is the Attorney General? Oh, the Attorney General, the Republican Attorney General in Georgia, had time to have 61 RICO indictments to indict 61 people regarding Stop Cop City. But why are Republicans so silent about this here? If the sheriff's complaining, well, it's about budget cuts. Okay, what's the number? What do you need? What are you asking the commissioner's court? What are you asking the state for? Somebody should have some damn answers, because it simply isn't natural for 10 people to die in a jail in a year, and there's no code red, a DEFCON 5 when it comes to political leadership. This is absolutely weak leadership, and this should not be the case. And commissioners should be saying to the sheriff, we bet not see another person die in this damn jail, because this makes no sense whatsoever. This to be is on par with Parchment in Mississippi. And again, people are way too quiet there in Atlanta area in Fulton County, and it needs to be dealt with, and these commissioners need to step the hell up. That's what needs to happen, because it literally makes no sense whatsoever. All right, folks, hold tight 1 second. We're going to go to a break. We come back, more. P. Navarro defied a congressional subpoena. Now he's going to get sentenced in January. So we got that going on. Also, some workers in Mississippi over the largest federal government call center are demanding a new contract, saying they're going to strike unless they get better wages and benefits. There was a protest today in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Congressman Benny Thompson, Derek Johnson, the NAACP, many folks spoke there, and we'll show you some of that and talk to those employees right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black women are starting businesses at the fastest rate than any other segment. However, finding the funding to build them is challenging. On our next Get Wealthy, we're going to talk with author Fani, who wrote the book, Build the Damn Thing. And she's going to be sharing exactly what we need to do to achieve success in spite of the odds.
As an entrepreneur of color, it's first, building your personal advisory board. I think that's one of the things that's helped me the most. The personal advisory board are the people who are in the business of you personally, and want to see you succeed.
That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Next, right here on The Frequency, the woman they call the Gifted Eye, hip-hop celebrity photographer Coy Soldier. She's the master storyteller that captured the history of hip-hop through the lens of her camera.
Tupac comes out, the next thing you know, you didn't know who they were at first. You just seen all these dudes just come rushing the stage. Then you realize Biggie gets a bottle of champagne, he pops it open, sprays it on the crowd, he drinks the bottle.
Coy Soldier, the hip-hop celebrity photographer, joining me right here on the next episode of The Frequency on the Black Star Network.
I'm Faraji Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture. Weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shooting.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance.
We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
What's up, Geek Tony in the place to be. Got Kicked Out Your Mama's University, creator and executive producer of Fat Tuesdays, a air hip hop comedy. But right now, I'm rolling with Roland Martin, unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
About a month ago, Maximus reached out to our office and they wanted to have a meeting. I said, I don't have any reason to meet with you. The only reason why I will meet with you if you had workers at the table, if you've signed an agreement with them to increase their pay to ensure they had medical health care and a quality of work life that all individuals should be entitled to. For the NAACP, let's be clear. When you strike, we will be here with you to recognize that the reason why we exist as an organization is because they was trying to exploit black workers for cheap labor. The reason why we were created as an organization because they exploited black folks for free labor we call slavery. And at the end of the day, the right of workers is the right of all citizens to be able to collectively bargain, and we must do that in solidarity. Now, as we stand here in this hot sun, in a parking lot behind us that's full, we need you to give your coworkers courage to ensure that they are willing to stand with you.
That was Derek Johnson, president of the NAACP, speaking at a rally today of employees of Maximus there in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Employees there, they have the government's largest call center. They're threatening to strike unless they get higher wages and better benefits. They went on strike for a single day in June. They made it clear at this rally that they will not go to work when it's time to renew federal health benefits if their demands are not met. Here is some more of the speakers from today's event.
Today we're standing together to put Maximus on notice that workers are prepared to go on strike during the Medicare and Affordable Care Act open enrollment period unless Maximus addresses their demands. Let me repeat that. So I want to make sure that they hear me and that y'all hear me. We are prepared and we will go on strike during the Medicare and Affordable Care Act open enrollment period unless Maximus addresses their demands. And I'm here to deliver a message to you, Maximus workers, that I and all of CWA, I, as your newly elected international president, have your back. And I will stand with you in your fight for living wages, affordable health care, for a real voice on the job, and for racial and economic justice. When we fight, we are going to win in the end. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I came a long way to be with workers who want to make a difference in the workplace. But you know, you want to be respected in the workplace. And so for a guy who doesn't represent this area, but I identify with your mission. I identify because all you want is the ability to organize and choose the right to have representation in the workplace. And that's what you're doing here at Maximus, and I support you for that. More importantly, for those of you who go to work every day, you expect to be respected and paid
a fair wage. Not just a living wage, but a fair wage. Now, what does that mean? In order to get what you want, you're going to have to stick together. And this is part of the process. This company makes $2 billion a year of federal contracts, and they can't pay you better than what they're paying you now. You know, you give people a raise, then you raise the deductible. You give them a raise, then you raise the contribution for the health care. That's not, you know, that's smoke and mirrors, because that doesn't put anything on the table. So part of the reason I'm here is to let you know that there are a lot of people who don't live in the Hattiesburg area who are with you. There are a lot of people who understand this cause. But in unity, there's strength. You have to stick together. Now,
Folks, joining us right now are a couple of members of the Maximus Organizing Committee, Sylvia Walker from Bogalusa, Louisiana, and Catherine Charles from Tampa. Glad to have both of you here. I'll start with you, Sylvia. So for folks who don't know, explain, what do y'all actually do?
I am at Maximus, and I'm a dual, what's called a dual. I work for the Affordable Care Act, signing people up for insurance. And I also work for Medicare.
So when folks are calling about the Affordable Care Act regarding benefits, you're one of the folks they're talking to, walking them through what it means?
Yes, I am.
Got it.
Along with others. We're completing applications, answering questions, assisting them with whatever they need when they're wanting to sign up or have questions about, are they eligible to sign up?
How about you, Catherine?
Hi, I've been working for Maximus for 9 years now. I work for Marketplace, which is the Affordable Care Act. I do not do Medicare. So I do help people with enrolling into health insurance, assisting them understand how health insurance work. If they have any problems with the insurance company, their insurance get canceled, or any questions that they have, that is what I'm here for. Also, as an internal support group, I also assist not only the consumers, but I am responsible for teaching my fellow CSRs or representatives that are new on the floor and they don't know how to find a script, where to look for. If they don't know how to read an escalation or how to do an escalation, I'm there to do that. I take tier 1 calls as well as tier 2 calls, as well as supervisor calls. So when the consumer called and asked for a supervisor, I'm the one answering those calls.
So you're focusing on pay and other benefits. So Sylvia, what is the pay like, and what are y'all asking for?
We're asking for a wage that we could live on. The pay is not good. As you can hear from what I said previously, I'm working 2 jobs and being paid for 1 job. Now,
what are they doing? Are they paying hourly? Are they paying salary? What are they paying? And what's the average wage of workers?
Okay, so the customer service representative, and that's what I am, dual. My salary is about $17 an hour, and there are some that make a little bit less, from what I understand. And then there are others that make a little bit more. And so you're putting a lot on your plate to provide the services that are needed for our community, people in our community, our communities, and then we're not being paid for that. No customer service representative that works for Maximus should be concerned about how they're going to pay the rent, how they're going to eat, how they're going to manage their home if they have to get sick, if they get sick. So that's a problem. When you have us working, we're doing our best to serve our community, to do the job to the fullest of our abilities, and then we're not paid. We're in the food pantry line. That makes no sense.
How many hours are y'all working per day?
We work 8 hours a day. And some have a 10-hour day.
And Catherine,
a 4-day week.
And how many employees are we talking about?
Oh, it's a lot. In Tampa, Florida, and here in Tampa, we have thousands of employees. Most of those employees are females, single mothers like me. For bilingual representative like me, the base pay is $18.70 a month. And
I'm sorry. You mean an hour?
An hour. Yeah,
got
I'm sorry.
It. Okay,
an
got
hour.
it. Got it. All right. So Sylvia, you said about 17. You said the base pay, but being bilingual was about 18.70. What are y'all asking for? What are you asking it to be raised to? Sylvia, you first.
$25 an hour. That's more like it.
$25 an hour. And what else are you asking for Maximus?
We're asking for better benefits. Our deductibles are high, and we can't afford these deductibles. If you don't go to the doctor or use your health care often, if you're just getting the basic office visit, wellness visit, we can't pay that deductible.
How much is it?
And then pay for the visit.
How much is it?
I think it's $2,500.
Whoa. 2,500?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. That is so for that office visit, you're paying $2,500.
Well, they can ask you to pay the deductible along with the visit.
Right.
Yeah, they can ask you for that. A provider can ask that.
Wow.
The way the insurance is set up is that you have to meet the deductible first. I work teaching people about deductibles, co-pays, and for us at Maximus, you have to meet the deductible. So if you go to your first doctor visit, you're not going to be paying a co-pay. You're going to pay the full visit until you meet that $2,500 out of pocket.
I mean, what's crazy is here y'all are trying to help people placing phone calls regarding the Affordable Care Act, and you're talking about having health care issues with your employer.
Exactly.
Correct.
Questions from our panel. Reese, you first.
Yeah, there's been reports of retaliation for people speaking out and being involved in this collective action. Are you all concerned about that, or do you feel pretty secure in your positions, like in terms of your immediate leadership?
Well, in my case, I do feel very concerned. This year, 2 days before Mother's Day, because there was a lot of people organizing, more than 700 employees were let go. They contacted CSRs to a meeting room, and they explained that you have 2 weeks to go. And they did it throughout national. It's not like one call center only. It was everywhere. And we don't have job security where I can say, well, I'm doing a good job. They're not going to fire me. They can get rid of me at any time for any reason, and they don't care how tenured you are. I know people on that round of layoff that were there for 14 years. And they had a Q quality score. They were responsible for the job. They did a good job, and they still got let go. Not a specific reason why, well, they said that because of local volumes, they had to let these people go. But imagine that you're being let go. You're a mother with a family that you have to take care of. And when you go to the Maximus website, they're hiring people, and they're opening other sites. So how does he explain that you're being fired because of local volume, but you're hiring extra people?
Lauren.
Do y'all know if there's any history of Maximus call center agreeing with workers in other negotiations in the past?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. In other words, have there ever been a negotiation where they said, maybe 5 to 10 years ago, we will come to the table and give you some of the things that you are asking for? Have you ever heard of that in the past?
I have not. I have been a part of the organizing since Maximus came to Louisiana, Bogalusa, Hattiesburg, and I have not heard of that. We've been working to try to organize They have been union busting, doing everything they can to stop us or to shut us down, calling the police on us when we were simply passing out flyers for information for our coworkers. I mean, just crazy, putting us off the property. Yes.
Wow. Thank you.
So they're not willing to negotiate.
Greg?
Thank you, Roland, and thank you, Ms. Walker and Ms. Charles. Reading up a little bit on Maximus, the way it looks, and we heard Congressman Thompson say $2 billion, but that was actually just for the first 2 quarters of this year. If I have it correctly, they're projecting as much as $5 billion in earnings this year, and a multi-billion-dollar international company with like nearly 40,000 employees in 10 countries. I mean, getting rid of 700 people earlier this year, and of course, in the wake of the one-day action you all had, I guess my question is, the excuses they're giving, and reading some of the conditions y'all working under reminds me of Amazon, and in terms of what these union busting they're trying to do, they're saying that, people getting put off the rolls means there's a slowdown in call volume. Has that been either of y'all's experience between people having to re-enroll and those suffering from long COVID? Has the call volume actually dropped, or has it increased? Or particularly since people are having to re-enroll in these things.
And the call volume has not let up. The calls come in back to back to back, constantly. You don't have time to recover from the previous call before another call. You're answering another call to assist someone else. And depending on the nature of that call, it can be some kind of difficult to take the next call and get yourself in that frame of mind to assist that person. But we do what we do, and we do it to the best of our abilities.
Thank you.
Catherine, final comment.
Well, as she stated, the calls are, for Marketplace, they're a little bit different because right now they're not as fast coming in through as they used to be. Like during November, during open enrollment, after open enrollment, when we have to do also the 1095 forms for tax season, it's call after call. You barely get a minute to sip water if you get anything. We're not only calling for the benefits of the pay and the conditions. We only get like a 5 minutes break to go use the bathroom or drink some water. And as she stated, in between difficult calls, sometimes you need more than that to decompress a little bit, because you get either really irate consumers on the phone, very mean and vicious, or you get people crying and very emotional. That also get transferred to us because we are human beings sitting on the phone listening to people's stories. And we work at Maximus not just because of the pay. We love what we do. And we just want to make sure that we get better condition. They're making money because we are the front line doing all the work. And I think as a federal contract, we should be considered federal employees and get the benefits of federal employees because they're getting the federal money.
Yes.
All right. Sylvia Walker, Catherine Charles, we appreciate both of you joining us on today's show. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Folks, we partner with the Communication Workers for America. You're going to be able to see the restream of today's rally on the Black Star Network, so check it out there. Also check out our YouTube channel as well to see the full speeches of all of those who spoke today in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. All right, folks, when we come back, more right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. We'll talk about Fani Willis smacking the hell out of Congressman Jim Jordan. Ain't nothing like a good pimp slap with some powder. Then, of course, P. Navarro, he got pimp slapped by a D.C. jury, found guilty. We'll talk about both of those stories when we come back right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
President Biden has delivered for Black America. More funding for Black entrepreneurs. Millions of new good-paying jobs. He's lowering the cost of medications and the cost of living. Joe Biden is delivering for us, and that's the facts.
On a next, A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, we're going to be talking about common sense. We think that people have it, know how to use it, but it is something that people often have to learn. The truth is, most of us are not born with it, and we need to teach common sense, embrace it, and give it to those who need it most, our kids.
So I always tell teachers to listen out to what conversations the students are having about what they're getting from social media, and then let's get ahead of it and have the appropriate conversations with them.
On a next, A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, here at Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Me, Sherry Shepard with Sammy Roman.
I'm Dr. Robin B., pharmacist and fitness coach, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Mediocre white men getting smacked down by sisters. That's what Fani Willis, the Fulton County DA, did. She basically told Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio to kiss her ass. Last month, the chair of the Judiciary Committee, Jordan, informed Willis by letter he was launching an investigation into whether she coordinated with federal officials for the Trump indictment. You know, he's been kissing Trump's ass so much, he probably has a brown face. Now, here are a few excerpts of Willis's 9-page letter response to Jordan's request for documents. Quote, as you know, Chairman Jordan, the congressional power of inquiry is not unlimited. She then cites Watkins versus United States. Congress is not a law enforcement or trial agency. That function is reserved only for the executive and judicial departments of the government. She then said, your letter offends each and every one of these settled principles. Its obvious purpose is to obstruct a Georgia criminal proceeding and to advance outrageous partisan misrepresentations. As I make clear below, there is no justification in the Constitution of Congress to interfere with a state criminal matter as you attempt to do. She then said the demands in your letter and your efforts at intruding upon the state of Georgia's criminal authority violate constitutional principles of federalism. Criminal prosecutions under state law are primarily the responsibility of state governments. Congress's lawful prerogative to interfere with states' administration of their criminal laws is extremely limited. She then said your attempt to invoke congressional authority to intrude upon and interfere with an active criminal case in Georgia is flagrantly at odds with the Constitution. The defendants in this case have been charged under state law with committing state crimes. There's absolutely no support for Congress purporting to second-guess or somehow supervise an ongoing Georgia criminal investigation and prosecution. Ooh, this she said, Chairman Jordan, I tell people often, deal with reality or reality will deal with you. It's time that you deal with some basic realities. A special purpose grand jury made up of everyday citizens investigated for 10 months and made recommendations to me. A further reality is that a grand jury of completely different Fulton County citizens found probable cause against the defendant named in the indictment for RICO violations and other felonies. Face this reality, Chairman Jordan. The select group of defendants who you fret over in my jurisdiction are like every other defendant, entitled to no worse or better treatment than any other American citizen. Oh, she wasn't done. As it seems you have a personal interest in the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, you should consider directing the U.S. DOJ to investigate the racist threats that have come to my staff and me because of this investigation. For your information, I'm attaching 10 examples of threats this office has received. See Exhibits F through O. I'm providing these examples to give you a window into what has happened to my staff and me as I keep the promise of my oath of the United States and the Georgia Constitutions, and do not allow myself to be bullied and threatened by members of Congress, local elected officials, or others who believe Lady Justice should not be blind and that America has different laws for different citizens. That right there is a pimp slap, Lauren.
Yeah, it sure is. It's a sort of idea that a lot of these congressional Republicans have, that they somehow can enter into any conversation about anything and have the authority to somehow rule over everybody else, even when they have absolutely no jurisdiction and no business being involved in what's going on. That's like some sort of, weird throwback idea that Jim Jordan in particular has. If you remember, he tried to interfere with Alvin Bragg in New York as well, that he has the right to somehow guide these people when they have these independent jobs that have absolutely nothing to do with him and have obviously more power than he has over these matters. Some of it is just pure PR. Some of it is to try to kiss the ass of Donald Trump in public, which is what they're perpetually doing, what MAGA Republicans in Congress are perpetually doing to impress Donald Trump. But some of it, I think, is the illegitimate idea that they have in their head that they can interfere with anybody. And as we saw in Wisconsin and Alabama, these Republicans who, of course, would appear to no longer believe in democracy, think that they can just sort of lock in their power forever by just making a decision to lock in their power forever without the people involved, without voters involved, or anyone else. But, Fani Willis ended that conversation. She's going to continue to ignore him because he should be ignored, and that's the way that'll play out.
What you're dealing with here, Reese, is an arrogant asshole in Congressman Jim Jordan. And again, these people will do whatever and say whatever to protect the Grand Dragon himself, the Orange One.
Right. It's all kabuki theater. They don't have any power. And I'm glad that Fani Willis said, go to hell, bitch. You have no authority over here around these parts. If you want to make yourself useful, then why don't you investigate the actual crimes that are being committed against my office in terms of the threats? And so Jim Jordan, who has gotten away with heinous things himself, is just doing nothing but entertaining the base and further entrenching the Republican Party with Donald Trump. The Republican Party is going all in on Trump at a time where they should be trying to bolster an alternative to him. And that's just where they decided to throw their lot in. But I am so glad that Fani Willis is not backing down. She is not even showing them any kind of deference. There's no sir this and honorable this. It's just kiss my black ass.
And that should always be the response, Greg.
Yeah, I will give credit to Fani Willis. I was having this conversation with students today, and we were talking about Fani Willis in Georgia and, her use of RICO. This is the first big white fish in her scope. And students have some mixed opinions on that. But one thing is clear. She doesn't mix her words when she gives public statements. Some of the bits that I particularly enjoyed in the 9-page letter, when she enumerates things in direct response to him. And I love what she said when she got to section 2C of her point-by-point refutation of her. She said, I'm going to give you an explanation of the basic obligations of a prosecutor. And the sentence she uses, she says, your letter makes it clear. Now, mind you, Jim Jordan has a JD from Capital Law School, which is down the street from where I went to law school at Ohio State. And he went to Ohio State, as Reese says, with a kind of checkered record there. But Fani Willis says, your letter makes it clear that you lack a basic understanding of the law, its practice, and the ethical obligations of attorneys generally and prosecutors specifically. Now, you saying to this guy with a JD, He said, your letter makes it clear that you don't understand. And then at the end, she gives a whole section, that last couple of pages, she said, here's some productive activity that you might be able to engage in. And then she enumerates what they do with the federal money, as you said, Roland. I mean, you're processing back rape kits, you're dealing with young people, trying to keep them out of the juvenile justice program. But the way she handled him was how you would talk to a child. And she did tell him to go to hell and to kiss her ass, but the way she did it over 9 pages, this is the Fani Willis that people in Atlanta know. It's just that they haven't always seen her train those guns on white people. And Jim Jordan, how'd you like it, brother? How did you like it?
Well, I'm sure that's what I want to ask. The same of P. Navarro, of course. We've been showing you all the videos of this white woman who's been trolling the hell out of P. Navarro. Well, today he was convicted. He was convicted today. Y'all, that's yesterday's video, y'all. That's old. So he was convicted in federal court today. So this is what happened in court today. Go to my iPad. All right, let's get it up. So I'm telling you, I've been showing, this is the 3rd time I'm showing this woman. I love the fact that she shows up, and every time that he goes before the cameras and he wants to pitch his defense funds, she's right there. All right, y'all, check this out.
I'm sorry, we're going to listen to Peter Navarro.
Here we are with one of the most important constitutional separation of powers issues, and people will not let me speak.
This is my First Amendment right. This is
what I'm going to do now is allow...
There's cameras here. The marshals just saw you. The marshals just saw you. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. You just assaulted me. That man just assaulted me. He stuck a flagpole in between my legs.
Yeah.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me. There you go. You're in trouble now. They're calling protective services. I was just assaulted.
Look, if you got a sign,
no, I
hold it
didn't.
over there.
Liar.
I can hold it anywhere I want. This is public property.
It's assault. I want to press charges.
Let the man talk.
Charges.
Are you interested in hearing him?
Man, go ahead, Peter. Go ahead and talk.
You're on federal
I don't
property.
agree with some of your shit, but go ahead and talk, man. Go ahead and talk.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Go ahead and talk, man. Go ahead. Sad day for America. Not because they were guilty verdicts, because I can't come out and have an honest.
Oh, I love how. Okay, first of all, I need to roll back. Did the brother say, "I don't believe most of the shit you say, but go ahead and talk"? Did he actually say that? Let me roll that back. Okay. Now go.
All right. Now they're calling protective services. I was just assaulted.
Look, if you got a sign,
no, I
hold it
didn't.
over there.
Liar.
I can hold it anywhere I want. This is public property.
It's assault. I want to press charges.
Let the man talk.
Charges.
Are you interested in hearing him?
Man, go ahead, Peter. Go ahead and talk.
You're on federal
I don't
property.
agree with some of your shit, but go ahead and talk.
Oh my God, Reese's like, I agree with some of your shit, but go ahead and talk.
You know what? Sometimes Black people just let the Karens do the work. Okay.
Right.
I don't know why you got to come in there swooping with your save a white boy cape on.
Well, with his truth conductor sign.
I don't know what that said. I couldn't read the sign, but I didn't.
Go right here. Go to my iPad. The sign says, "Stop hating each other because you disagree." Truth conductor. Boy, bye.
Okay, so you one of those. Okay, that's fine. Look. Karen's for good, okay? I'm with homegirl. If you can get somebody locked up, if you can weaponize those white tears towards white terrorists, I am on your side, homegirl. I support you and your movement on white crime and go send them to jail. I want to know if she got her wish. Was the man arrested because he assaulted her? We all saw it. It was on camera, okay? She deserves justice.
I mean, first of all, she's been amazing. Now, remember, y'all, this was the first one we showed right here.
Thank you. WW. This is what's wrong with America here. www.defendpeter.com.
Come on, my man. Cut it out, man. Let the man talk, man. Let the man talk. Let him talk, man. He has every right to talk. Come on. Don't do that, man. Let the man talk, man. Let the man talk.
Please play this
Let him talk.
on your channels. Because this is just wrong. I'm trying to speak about serious constitutional issues with you. Clown with a whistle, witch with a broom. You go figure. So, defendpeter.com. Please go there. Help support this fight against the attack on the separation of powers. These trials are very expensive.
Peter is using my image to grift off me. Send me money.
These trials are very expensive. That's part of the Democrats' lawfare against us.
All right, come on, dude. Come on, dude.
Kidnapped, raped, and almost murdered by a white supremacist gang after he doxed me.
Yeah, it's time to go. All right, we'll see you tomorrow, and hopefully,
Same time, same place.
hopefully, free speech. will-
Oh, Lord. Risha, you would really enjoy that. Laura, he talked about witch with a broom, and she was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, she just kept going. I mean, she knows how to play the camera. She knows what to do to get a pretty good, clip going, and she must be out there like all the time. There's certain people who are at that courthouse all the time, just sort of waiting for people to come out, and you can't really go in and do anything. You can't bring your cell phone in there, so she must be really staking him out. And nobody deserves it more than Peter Navarro, who's one of the most arrogant MAGA Trump former staffers that has been inside that courthouse.
Oh, I thought it was perfect. And again, he was so upset. He was mad upset.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all can now roll a video that we've initially had. This was actually yesterday. I just thought this was perfect.
Where's the CNN? CNN here? Is CNN here? Anybody want to own up to that? Here's the problem.
Hero.
Who's this? Come on.
Bro,
Give me out.
you're already facing charges.
Yeah, I get it.
Go ahead and commit a crime. You've been here this whole time. Situational.
Yes, okay.
Why?
All right.
Right. Oh! You're already facing charges.
Yes.
Oh! Go ahead, Greg.
No, man. Look, Roland. I mean, what you said earlier, I think bears underscoring now, particularly with that brother standing there.
Man, go into the man talk. Man, go sit your ass down.
I mean, but here's the thing, though. What you said is so important. These white men, these white people generally, but especially these old white men, they are working a long-range plan to retain control of their little funky-ass experiment called United States of America.
Yep.
They have thrown all the rules out. So ironically, the black man is the person who black folk in this country are trained to look at as the model. There are rules, let the man talk, First Amendment. The white woman is behaving, ironically, the same way in some ways as he is behaving. There ain't no damn rules. She got on a shirt that says, witches be tripping, meaning what? You see the anarchist symbol there at the bottom. There ain't no damn rules. So she and Peter Navarro are kind of in the same vein. This black man over here, and again, I remind folks, I have no investment at all in this criminal enterprise. My ancestors were taken into it. My hope is that we will build something that can really be for human beings as this thing falls apart. They're playing for all the marbles now. You saw what DeSantis and Vivek, whatever his name is, Swami or whatever his name is talking. Let me not do that. Ramaswamy was saying about the Proud Boys. They said it was unfair. The sentencing was unfair. Steve Bannon is appealing his 4-month sentence and $6,500. Certainly Navarro is going to do the same. As you said, Roland, they trying to take out Fani Willis in Georgia. They trying to take out the judge on the Supreme Court, as we heard Lauren say in Wisconsin State Supreme Court. These white boys are playing for keeps. You see this cretin, what's this punk, the punk that was in the White House with the bald head, Steve, whatever his name is.
Stephen Miller?
Yeah, they are now moving and bloom into attacking people who are hiring folks with affirmative action. They have taken out all the stops.
Oh, yeah.
Now, And for us to celebrate what that white woman is doing, and I'm right with you, I'm laughing too, it's underscoring a very important point. There are no rules.
Right. And see, my whole deal is they hound, you hound. In fact, here's another angle. There was another angle of the video. Navarro was just really upset. I love this one. Watch.
You're doing, sir. We appreciate the justice you're getting for this country.
I think this is kind of the important kind of debate. And look, see, she's trying to block the flag. Yep. Okay, this is the problem we have in America. Like she's come across, you know, that's fine. She's expressing her point of view. She's got a megaphone to disrupt. Yep. But when it comes time,
see, here's my whole deal. See, here's why I think you have to do this here. See, you can't play nice with these people. So I'm perfectly fine with the signs, the whistle, interrupting their ass. Like, these are the same assholes y'all remember when Obama was speaking before Congress, State of the Union, and then that fool from South Carolina yelled out, "You lie." Then you had Marjorie Taylor Greene and all those fools acting fool. You cannot, and again, this is the mistake a lot of Democrats make. They want to play nice. They believe, no, here are the right things. I know Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. Damn that, Reese. When they go low, hit their ass in the knee, and they hit you in the shin, bust their ass in the ankles. They hit you in the ankles, hit them in the bottom of their feet.
Point blank and the period. Like, fuck civility. This is the same motherfucker who sat up there and orchestrated what they call the Green Bay sweep to essentially overturn the election and disenfranchise 81 million Americans, 8 million which more voted for Biden over Trump. And so he can kiss my whole ass sitting up there trying to appeal to civility and my rights and freedom of speech. And this is what's wrong with the country. What's wrong with the country is that these are the only charges that you've been convicted of. Your ass needs to be up in jail. You need to be down there with the RICO charges. You need to be up in there with Enrico Tarrio and all these other motherfuckers because your ass tried to steal the election too. The only difference was you were not in the actual halls of Congress while the steal was attempted to happen. And so it's the audacity of him to sit up here and act indignant as though he's the one who's being wrong when he shamelessly and brazenly tried to steal an election. And so I don't normally cheer white girls too much, but good on you, white girl, for doing what you need to be doing. I hope you can get more of your sisterin over to our side and stop siding with them damn white nationalist Republican devils and go on ahead and let's try to get some more people elected in 2022 or 2024 rather, so we ain't got to deal with the Peter Navarros and the Trumps and the DeSantis and none of these motherfuckers again for a while.
I mean, look, the thing here, Lauren, and we're going to talk about it more in depth tomorrow, but you had a white woman in Tennessee who sued the 8A program. The Washington Post has a story. And the judge ruled in her favor. And now, mind you, this white woman started a business, got a $20,000 loan from her daddy, eventually got $500,000 in loan from her daddy. This is a privileged white woman. She then got 2 federal contracts totaling $3.8 million through a women's program, but then her trifling ass sued the 8A program by saying, oh, I couldn't apply because I'm not disadvantaged by race. And so now this has upended the 8A program. Now let's keep in mind, the federal government spends $560 billion a year on contracts. Black people have gotten 1.67% of the federal contracts, most through the 8A program, okay? But see, these white folks want to go after everything. And I kept warning people that this is what they're going to do. This is a moment where we must be in a fight mode. We talked about CRT, books, we talked about affirmative action in college. They want to go after anything that has actually helped black people, other minorities. And I said to the Business Council in Milwaukee, I said, now is the time to see whether real allies are going to step up. Let's now see if big business is going to say, hell no, we doing this because it's right. You got to bring the same level of energy to these assholes, and you got to get in their face. You got to sit here and go at them. I ain't conceding an inch to these devils. Not an inch.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I mean, there's a lot to say about that. We're basically dealing with a bunch of people who are, their core strategy really is lying, because lying works. And lying particularly works when you have a press corps that wants to both sides everything and stick to objectivity and not state.
And want to play nice.
Right. Yeah. It's worse than not wanting to play nice. It is actually not wanting to report, quote, a both sides objective framework and not call a thing and a lie a lie. We sat here with the first 2 years of Donald Trump, 2016, 2017, not, being wrapped around the axle of not wanting to call him the liar that he was with regard to President Obama's birth certificate. And they reported it as if it was just news because he was saying it. But when a political party is dedicated to lying and they convince a sizable amount of people that an election was stolen such that we're changing laws over it and getting people to believe that, and lying is a strategy, you've got to be playing on a different strategic level when that starts to happen.
Right.
Because
you can't even try to sit here and try to be, okay, here's a perfect example. Mehdi Hassan interviewed at Fool Vivek, that idiot. And he was jamming them up. And he was catching him in lies. He was catching him in lies, lie after lie. And he was very aggressive with the questioning. But my whole deal was, dog, call that thing a thing. This is what you're talking about in terms of how mainstream media sort of plays this. And media is far more aggressive than most of these people out here. But again, you got to call this stuff what it is. Watch this, we're going to come back.
Anti-identity politics, anti-affirmative action in a party that hates the Soros name, yet you accepted a Paul and Daisy Soros scholarship at law school that was specifically set up for the children of immigrants. It was an affirmative action scholarship, and your defense for that is that you didn't have the money to pay for law school, even though you'd already made over $1 million at the time and made another $2 million.
My defense of that is somebody gives you a merit scholarship at the age of 24, you take it. At the age of 24, somebody gives you a merit scholarship, you take it. I didn't say I didn't have the money. I said at a time when I had a lot less money than now, $50,000
you said
was
exactly,
still useful
I didn't have the money
to me.
Vivek. You keep forgetting your quote. You said, when I didn't have the money.
So, Mehdi, I've made this really easy for everybody. And I did this in the early weeks of the campaign. I released 20 years of tax returns.
Yes, you did.
Something that no presidential candidate, let alone somebody who's successful in business, has done. I challenged Democrats and Republicans alike, including the Biden family, to do it. And you know what? I released it so that you could look at them, so we can have an honest conversation.
And I appreciate that.
The funny thing I've learned.
I do appreciate that. It's something Trump should learn from you.
I think that transparency is important. So it's already open and everybody can see it.
Exactly. We have 2009
But the fact of the matter is, you know what I would advise every 24-year-old should take
2009 and 2010, you made $750,000. You had the money to pay for law school. You didn't need a Soros affirmative action scholarship that you now criticize.
I mean, none of this is worthy, but if you think it is, let's get to the detail. That was actually the first big piece
You say you're anti-affirmative action.
Well,
you took a scholarship for immigrants.
I'm anti-affirmative action.
So why did you take a scholarship for the children of immigrants?
Which falsehood would you like me to address? The financial one or the one about my views on affirmative action? Because I can go in whichever order you'd like.
On
the financial piece of it. Not at the time that I had applied for the scholarship that fall.
Yes, you did.
That December.
Yes, you did, Vivek. This is awkward for you because you did. I've got the tax returns in front of my face.
No, it's not awkward for you. Yes, on December 31st, when the application for the scholarship was that October. Mehdi, you're wasting your time on childish details in October of that year when I applied for that scholarship.
So now again, I thought, look, Mehdi had the receipts, but to Lauren's point, this is what you do. This is what you say. Vivek, here are your tax returns. You're lying. You are a liar. You're lying right now. You lied during the debate, and you're likely going to lie tomorrow. So how in the world can somebody trust you? You're a liar. So you're Donald Trump light. You are a liar. These are the facts. See,
he knows. See, the thing is, people like Vivek, Donald Trump, they know that the media will broadcast anything that they say without questioning it, right? That's what we had on CNN right before Chris Licht got fired. They let Donald Trump sit there and lie all night. Did she push back a little bit? Sure, she pushed back. But you know what he's going to do. But Vivek Ramaswamy knew I'm going to get attention if I run my mouth reckless. DeSantis does the same thing. The media has to get smarter in dealing with these people, with these demagogues who are lying their way into fascism and killing our democracy is what they're doing. And the media is sitting there just reporting what they say without checking anything. Mehdi Hasan is one of the rare examples who actually does that type of thing. And of course, Vivek Ramaswamy, who, by the way, keeps getting interview after interview for some idiot reason this is the other thing. Why are they platforming Vivek Ramaswamy?
Right.
Why are we seeing him on a show every freaking day?
I'll answer because of exactly what you saw. And see, this is the problem. This is the problem with mainstream white media. They know he's going to lie. They know he's incendiary. They know he's going to sit here and make up bullshit. And they're like, let's go for the viral moment. Let me tell you something right now. Vivek's people have been emailing us. Who did they hit, Carol? They've been emailing us trying to get him on this show. No. I don't, and people like, oh man, you should go Roland Martin. I'm not talking to his punk ass. He's a liar. He's a flat out liar. I'm not talking to his ass. They were like, Roland, you should get RFK on. Why? He lies. Both of these people, they've actually read quotes back to them. No, I didn't say that. Yes, you did. And so I'm sorry, I'm not gonna do a lot. So the reason I love that white woman with the sign, because she's like, yep, he full of shit, blow the whistle, and it's like, no, I'm not gonna let you stand before the camera talk about how this is a grave constitutional crisis and how this should go to the Supreme Court. No, this is what happens. This is what it's sort of go give it a watch out, Henry. It's sort of like imagine the Eddie Murphy skit when they're going la 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 la. You full of shit. You full of shit. You lying. That's what you gotta do. There's no other way to deal with these people. You have to do that, and that's why when I busted Chris Christie in his mouth on the ABC. Because I remember in 2017, I went on This Week and I said, Donald Trump's a liar. Folks kind of like, oh, I'm like, can y'all stop playing? The man's a liar. Can y'all say it? And I'll never forget, Greg, they were like, well, no. I remember Judy Woodruff and Jake Tapper. They were like, no, so we can't use the word liar because in order to use the word lie, we have to know that was their intent from the beginning. That's their intent, to lie.
Yeah.
And they want you to run their bullshit, and that's all they want. They want the media hit to go raise some more damn money. That's where you got to say, nah, I'm not putting your lying ass on.
Sure. No, that's true. I mean, and an additional problem, perhaps the problem for us, is that we want that too. This is all, there's a reason why it's called news entertainment media. Like you said, this is, and Lauren just laid it out, that both sidism, they're looking for eyeballs. And if you have Ramaswamy on there, if you were to have Tim Scott on, if you were to have Nikki Haley, if you were to have any of those people running and eviscerate them, I think, sadly, it might penetrate differently than if you were not to have them on at all, simply because our people have been trained through this ridiculous swamp of social media, as Reese has been trying to help us understand for a very long time now, have been trained to go for the spectacle. Dismembering him in space might actually have some penetrating impact. I mean, we're in a situation now where, as you say, there are no rules and all gloves are off. If the Democrats win the presidential election, these white nationalists have let you know that they don't give a damn. This looks more like the 1850s than it does the 1950s. In other words, they are going to fight a civil war until they win or they break the thing. If Donald Trump or the Republicans win, then we know what we are in for. Clarence Thomas may retire, and they may try to even expand the Supreme Court because there are no rules. We are now in a point where we are past the event horizon of what's going to happen if they ever get any momentum. They not only have momentum now, they have embraced the fact that it's either going to be re-rule or we ruin. That's it. So now we've got to figure out how we respond. Now, I'm all with you. Let's go all in. But if we're going to go all in, we got to go all in.
So here's my deal. My deal here, Reese. First of all, his ass has 6%. I ain't talking to nobody at 6%.
Right.
I'm not. Okay? I don't care how many times Mary Ann Williamson's people email us. Okay?
Yeah.
I ain't talking to Mary Ann Williamson because she's not a real candidate. I'm sorry, y'all. Now, we can sit here and go, oh, no, but, well, a person, that's how they get a shot. They ain't real, okay?
Yeah.
Ain't real. So I ain't talking to Vivek. What he's doing, he is trying to sell books. He wants attention. Now, if he get 15 to 18, 20, and become all of a sudden real candidate, fine. I'm going to talk to your ass. Then I'm going to cut you to the white meat. Because, see, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say, no, I'm going to say, your ass lying.
Right.
And then I'm going to say, listen, Vivek, Roland can't get fired like Don Lemon.
No question. No question.
Oh, yeah,
see,
for sure.
That's the deal. I'm going to say, you're lying. I'm going to call you out. Look, listen, y'all. September 19th is the 2-year anniversary last time I was on This Week. You know why they called me back? Because I told Sarah and Chris, both of y'all are the reason that Donald Trump got in, because y'all chose to work for him. This whole system, this whole bullshit media system, is that they don't like being confronted with their lies. That's the reason why Fox News punk asses won't call me. Here's a perfect example. Now, media put this together. This is the kind of, this is the BS that they do if they don't like getting called on, but why you gotta learn to say, no, you are a lying hypocrite. Watch this.
Cannot have a country led by a president subject to ongoing criminal investigations, potential indictments, and never-ending hearings.
The RICO statute, that's just theater. That's just a bunch of theater in the midst of politics and a legal thing.
Hillary Clinton could be sworn into office while still being under investigation from the FBI, which would then put this country into a major constitutional crisis.
This will be nothing other than a show indictment to cover their overtly political, never-ending persecution of any and all things Donald J. Trump.
She's under FBI investigation less than 2 weeks before the presidential election. Holy smokes.
Yes, Donald Trump is a flawed man, but his sins are minor compared to those of his persecutors.
The American people are about to have a candidate who is clearly going to be under criminal investigation for the entire first and second year of her presidency.
All these indictments are about politics. Not a single one of them is about the law.
See, that's where, again, if I'm going on and be like, here, Sean, on this date, your ass said this. Now you're saying something 180 degrees different. I'm sorry, what's the difference? See, you got to check their ass in the moment. But the rest of these people want to play nice because they trying to book them again. They're trying to come back on again. And they have no problem trying to, well, no, I think it's important for us to hear both sides. It's not important for me to hear your ass lie.
Right.
And somebody has to be willing to say, your ass lying.
Well, they're making money off of it. They're making money off of it. I mean, we learned that, again, with Donald Trump and CNN in 2016. But CNN was making money off of the ratings of him standing up there and creating the spectacle that was getting clicks all over the place and getting viewership. And as long as you have that marriage between the clicks to the website, the clicks to the ads, and the spectacle, you will get the spectacle. On top of that, particularly for politicians, you can lie about politicians because of Tom Sullivan and the malice standard. You can lie about politicians all day and all night, create a spectacle, create clicks to the website, and get away with it. There is no legal recourse. I don't care what anybody says. There's no legal recourse for an elected official who is slandered or defamed by somebody on TV. Dominion voting machines, they're not an elected official, so they sued Fox and they won on defamation. But for elected officials, anybody can say anything. That's why these guys, Vivek, Donald Trump, they know I'm getting publicity. I'm getting my lies out. If you're going to air me and put me in front of millions of people, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get on there and I'm going to keep lying. And that's what they do. And the media is stupid for allowing that continuously to happen.
And Racy, what has to happen between now and next year, every time they lie, they must meet a haymaker. Not a jab, not a little tap. They need to be punched in the face repeatedly.
Yeah, but don't hold your breath for that one, okay? Every outlet is not a Roland Martin Unfiltered. And the reality is these people feel comfortable going on these shows because they know that there's only so much pushback. They know that they can filibuster and overtalk and still get their highlight reel. And to the extent that they are challenged, they look at it as, oh, the biased liberal media, and they use it as a fundraising call. But the reality is that this kinds of stuff from Vivek is not doing him any favors. He has been polling third, but after the debate, his unfavorable shot up. White people don't like you getting too mouthy with people all the time. You know what I'm saying? So some of it might be cute for a while. But I think it's starting to wear a little thin on them. So I expect that he will flame out very soon. My only disappointment is that he's such a buffoon that I think that he really stains the entire party with his buffoonery, to the extent that if he does drop out, it will almost make other people seem normal, and they are just as dangerous as he is, even if they don't have the same level of spectacle.
So this is the final comment on this, and go to Greg to close us out, then we'll go to a break. So here's what I mean when I say you got to punch them in the mouth. I'm not just talking about when they're on television and when they're doing interviews. What I'm talking about is everywhere. Oh, so y'all were a little upset when a couple of new Black Panthers stood outside of a polling location. Oh, so now y'all want to change the rules to where your little poll watchers can now just roll up on folks and listen in on conversations. Okay, I'm just waiting for the group to say we're going to recruit 5,000 Black folks nationally to roll up in white polling booths and white polling locations, in red polling locations, and for them to freak the hell out when they see 10, 20 Black men rolling up as poll watchers. See, every time they have one of these news conferences, it needs to be folks with their standing behind there with signs and blowing whistles and driving their ass crazy. Because see, what the Ed Blooms are doing with these lawsuits, what they are essentially doing is they're harassing Black America. That's what they're doing. And what I'm saying is, as you know, Greg, I would like to say, you got to break their backs. This is not the time for us to be nice. Listen, I agree. I am not. The reason that Montgomery brawl resonated when that brother picked the chair up and knocked the shit out of homegirl because they said, we tired. I'm telling you, there needs to be some proverbial, folding chair pickups in everything, because I keep warning our people. All y'all watching right now, I'm trying to explain to y'all what they have in store. They are literally doing it. People need to understand something, Greg. These people right now in this city, so everybody who's watching, 2 blocks that way is the White House. Yeah. About 10 blocks that way is the Heritage Foundation. Yeah. And you know what these folks are doing? They are meeting and they are planning and they are looking at what Trump did those 4 years. And they have already created a massive plan to take over every facet. There will be no separation. There will be no walls. It won't be all political appointees and then folks who work for a long time. No, they literally have already said, we are going to fire people who disagree with us politically. They are, they have got, y'all don't understand, all y'all people who are watching and listening. They literally have just maps and charts and white papers saying we're going to fire tens of thousands of federal workers who do not agree with our ideology. Mm-hmm. Right. That's their plan. They want to put the control of the FCC in the White House. Donald Trump has said, I am going to use the IRS and the Department of Justice to go after my political opponents. So some of us can sit here and play around, but I'm telling you right now, if the Republicans, they already got control of the House. If they keep the House and they get the Senate and they get the White House, mark my word, on September 7th at 7:35 p.m. Eastern, what this panel said, So I don't want to hear nobody saying, Greg, I can't believe what's happened. Because we told y'all asses what they were going to do. Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I really don't care. I'm not in the kind of I told you so person. Because
I am. I'm petty like that.
I know, but I mean,
I'm King Petty. Go ahead.
No, it's not pettiness, man. I mean, part of it, I think, is just, I don't want to say frustration, but, you know, it's a situation where we've seen this before. We are in uncharted territory, but we're also not. Go back through the history of this funky place and see where there have been spikes in moments of open violence. I keep referring to the 1850s, but you can come to the 1920s and 30s and the huge anti-Catholic movement when they were still forming whiteness. You can see the attack on the Japanese and others. These moments come just before inflection points, and they've been building this inflection point since the 1960s. They finally have their numbers straight. It really doesn't matter in some ways whether the Democrats win or lose the White House with regard to these white nationalists. All the pretenses have been dropped. And when we start talking about taking a folding chair to people, I'm all for it. But my thing is, that means we're going to have to do it. Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia, for example, gets no credit for saying anything about Fani Willis. Why? You, sir, are white nationalists. You purged hundreds of thousands of black people off, and you stole an election from Stacey Abrams. You, sir, get no credit. See, our problem is when somebody white acts like they got a little bit of sense relative to a nut, the way Reese just said, we say, well, they sound a little bit. Nikki Haley is insane. Understand that she is polling neck and neck or a little bit above Joe Biden if you put her in a matchup, because people might say, well, Vivek is crazy and we don't want Donald Trump. So Nikki Haley seems like, no. You got to take the proverbial, the metaphorical white chair to all of these white nationalists. And there can't be any moment by moment peace. Yep. When you see somebody like Joe and Mika on Morning Joe, you know what you're looking at? You're looking at their friends. So this oh, what's going on now? No, hell no. Y'all guilty too. You platform these people. Yep. These boys gonna run it till the wheels fall off. And my question to everybody now watching this and the people who need to spread this is this: will you support a place that is going to speak truth to power, or you just gonna be along for the ride? Because understand, if they get back in power, you better get the strap. And if they don't get back in power, you better get the strap, because in America, you can kill a black woman or a black man in the street and have nothing to do with it. You can kill them in jail. You can kill them in the dollar store. You can ride up in their colleges. You can slap them around in the park and nobody get in trouble. So it's already happened. The only question is, when are we going to get off the mat?
And just in case y'all thought what Greg said, well, y'all must have maybe went too far. I'm going to go to break. This is Mike Huckabee. And this is what this Yahoo said just the other day.
Do you know how political opponents to those in power are dealt with in third world dictatorships, banana republics, and communist regimes? Well, it's simple. The people in power use their police agencies to arrest their opponents for made-up crimes in an attempt to discredit them, bankrupt them, imprison them, exile them, or all of the above. And if you're not paying attention, you may not realize that Joe Biden is using exactly those tactics to make sure that Donald Trump is not his opponent in 2024. Here's the problem. If these tactics end up working to keep Trump from winning or even running in 2024, it is going to be the last American election that will be decided by ballots rather than bullets. Do you know how political opponents to those in power are dealt with in third?
Now, go back full screen. I want y'all to show y'all where this aired.
World dictatorships.
Look at that top right left-hand corner. That was on TBN. The Trinity Broadcasting Network. Mike Huckabee was talking to those white evangelicals, and it's a whole bunch of black people who also watch and support TBN.
That's
See,
right.
Y'all need to understand. Remember when Daystar also tripped out and they edited one of my pastor's sermons, Ralph West, for some political comments that he made, and he was critical, and he went off on them for doing so. This is what they're also doing. They're even using those Christian TV networks to drive their Christian fundamentalist agenda. Y'all don't sit here and I just told y'all, the rich white guy out of Detroit, Kevin Adele, who owns the Word Network, who had that black radio station in Detroit, 50,000 watts, what did he do? Just flipped it to a right-wing radio format featuring Glenn Beck, Clay Travis, and Buck Sexton. Making money off black folks with the Word Network, but then now trying to do right-wing radio. I'm trying to tell y'all, don't give these folks an inch. Going to a break, we're gonna come back, we're gonna talk to a lawyer. How the hell does a judge have him show up in chains for a civil suit? He'll explain next, right here in Roland Martin Unfiltered. You're watching us right now, folks. Support us in what we do. Your dollars are critically important. The work that we do, folks, is not easy. You got a lot. Let me tell y'all right now, there are advertisers. They tell us, oh, we brand safe. So we don't want our ads running in news and opinion shows. Yet I see their ads on Fox News. Yep, all the time. So when you give, you are keeping this show and other shows on the Black Star Network on the air. So send your check to Black Star Network, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Please, folks, again, we are about $400,000 behind our goal. The goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. I totally understand those who cannot give that. So many people have given less, but people have given more as well. And so your donations are critical to us being able to do this work, staying independent and free, being able to speak the truth that is necessary. And so please, that's the way for you to give. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. And be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Proceeds go right back into the show. And so you can get that bookstores across the country, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. You can also get the audio version on Audible. We'll be right back.
Next, right here on The Frequency, the woman they call the Gifted Eye, hip-hop celebrity photographer Coy Soldier. She's the master storyteller that captured the history of hip-hop through the lens of her camera.
Tupac comes out, the next thing you know, you didn't know who they were at first. You just seen all these dudes just come rushing the stage. Then you realize Biggie gets a bottle of champagne, he pops it open, sprays it on the crowd, he drinks the bottle.
Coy Soldier, the hip-hop celebrity photographer, joining me right here on the next episode of The Frequency on the Black Star Network.
Next on The Black Tape with me, Greg Carr. What do Deion Sanders, a lawnmower, and the phenomenon of invisible labor all have in common? They're all now part of, shall we say, a colorful lore at our historically black colleges and universities. Our Master Educator Roundtable convenes to explain it all as we explore the good, the bad, and the downright ugly of one of Black America's national treasures. That's next on The Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black women are starting businesses at the fastest rate than any other segment. However, finding the funding to build them is challenging. On our next Get Wealthy, we're going to talk with author Catherine Fannie, who wrote the book, Build the Damn Thing. And she's going to be sharing exactly what we need to do to achieve success in spite of the odds.
As an entrepreneur of color, it's first, building your personal advisory board. I think that's one of the things that's helped me the most. The personal advisory board are the people who are in the business of you personally, and want to see you succeed.
That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Hey, it's John Murray, the executive producer of the new Sherry Shepherd Talk Show.
This is your boy, Earthquake.
And you're tuned in to
Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, on May 3rd, a Black Pittsburgh lawyer and former NFL player says he was arrested, dragged into an Allegheny County courtroom in shackles, given 15 minutes to negotiate a civil lawsuit to regain his freedom. When Walter Bernard did not comply with the judge's wishes, he was arrested again and forced to appear in court to argue the same civil case on August 9th, and this time stayed in jail for nearly 3 weeks. Bernard has filed a federal lawsuit against Allegheny County Common Pleas Court Judge Philip Ignelzi for multiple civil rights violations. Walter Bernard joins us right now from Pittsburgh. Glad to have you here. So, what the hell? Well, first of all, what was the civil case?
Yeah, so just to give you a little bit of background, the case was about my brother, who's also my business partner. We had opened an escape room, and escape room was like a place where families could come enjoy different activities for the weekend. We did corporate events. We were very active in the community. The way that our business ran, it was designed where it required certain automation. So we needed a minimum of 4 people to operate the different activities. COVID happened, and when COVID happened, we were shut down. The governor governor of Pennsylvania put in a mandate that required businesses to not operate. If we were to operate, we would be fined $10,000, I believe. And there was a clause in our lease agreement. A lot of attorneys refer to it as a force majeure clause. The clause allowed us to abate the rent. Abate the rent just means we weren't required to pay the rent as long as we were shut down. So we desired to exercise that clause. The landlord said he wasn't going to recognize that clause, and he threatened that he was going to sue us, which he ultimately did. He said, you have 2 options. You can either continue paying the rent, even though you're shut down, or you're going to terminate the lease. At that point, we went and we sought a commercial real estate attorney, and he argued that the ability to operate our business, it was impossible because we were shut down. So landlord goes and he says, all right, well, does that mean you're going to terminate the lease? Our landlord sent, our attorney at the time sent the landlord a notice and said, because you're not going to basically exercise or follow and adhere to the terms of the lease, we're just going to, we want to terminate it. We never heard back from the landlord. Next thing we know, we get filed a lawsuit for possession of the premises and for money damages. The lease
how much were they trying to recoup?
They were trying to recoup $100,000 because the lease contained an acceleration clause.
Okay, but what I'm confused by is, how does a judge order you to settle a suit and then have you arrested in shackles in a civil case? I've never heard of a judge doing this in a civil case.
Yeah, so that's puzzling a lot of experts. What ultimately happened is they sued us for an acceleration. The lease also contained an acceleration clause. So the original judge of the case says $100,000 for the plaintiff landlord. And with that being said, he also stated that we were to be credited because the reason why we vacated the premises was because while we were shut down, the landlord came and stole thousands of dollars of our items. He came in and stole from us.
I understand in terms of, you know, the ups and downs of it, but here's what I'm trying to understand. First of all, was there an ongoing trial?
There was not an ongoing trial.
It was just a lawsuit.
Yes, it was a lawsuit. What happened was the judge Ignazzi, he was not the original judge of the case. The original judge of the case said, I retain exclusive jurisdiction of the case, meaning he oversees all matters of the case.
Right.
There were still underlying issues that need to be settled. And Ignazzi jumps in as another judge, and he listens to the
Wait. So one judge is assigned this case.
Correct.
And y'all were dealing with that judge.
Correct.
Then all of a sudden, this dude jumps in and then orders you, like literally, did he send sheriff's deputies to come get you? Where were you? Were you arrested? What happened?
Yes. So he jumps in the case. He says that he jumps in the case when this matter was actually before the appellate court, and he did not have jurisdiction. It was appealed, this matter. And so what happens when a case is appealed, it takes away jurisdiction from the trial court.
Yeah, I mean, when the case is appealed, it's down at the appellate court.
Right.
So this dude jumps in. I'm trying to understand. Where were you? Did they come and arrest you somewhere? Where were you?
Right. So I was in my home, and
was this weekday weekend? This was May 3rd, I believe was I believe it was a Wednesday. Okay, so you at the house, all of a sudden, what? Sheriff's deputies show up saying, "We got an arrest warrant for you?"
No. They knocked on my door, would continue to knock. I have dogs. The dogs started going crazy, and they were relentless. They were talking to neighbors. It wasn't until they called me on the phone. A detective leaves a message on my voicemail, which I still have, and he says, "You need to come to the door. You're not in trouble. The sheriff just wants to see you, but if you don't come to the door," he said, "that the situation is going to get worse."
Okay, so wait a minute, hold up. So do they eventually arrest you?
Yes, they arrest me under the legal definition of arrest. I was not free to go anywhere.
Right. But what I'm saying is, but what happened? How did you get in the shackles and then go into the courtroom? How did that happen?
I was required to get into the sheriff's vehicle.
Got it.
They drive me down to the courthouse.
Got it.
And they throw me in a holding cell, and I was required to, I couldn't get out of the holding cell.
Right.
And then when I was summoned by the judge, that's when they shackled me and brought me before the judge while wearing shackles.
So, and you go before the judge, and the judge tells you, you got 15 minutes to settle this lawsuit, or I'm going to keep you in jail.
Yeah, so what he said was he had previously put in an order, and the order, if you look at the plain language of the order, it actually did not require us to do anything. So when I first walked into the courtroom, he asked me, he says, "Why did you disobey my order?" I said, "I did not disobey your order." So he said, "All right, here's what we're going to do." He says, "You have 15 minutes or less." He says, "You're either going to settle this case." That's option one. He said, option two is the financial documents, your personal brokerage accounts, federal tax returns. You're going to turn those over, and you have to make the decision in 15 minutes. And if you don't, I'm going to finish processing you in jail. You're going to get fingerprinted, and you're not going to get out until you comply.
And what then happens? That then happens, and you spend 3 weeks in jail.
No. So this was the first time. So what ends up happening is he goes back to his chambers, I call him back and I say, my client is not here, so I can't do option one because there's a dispute currently as to the numbers. And I said, under the professional ethic rules, I cannot accept a settlement without even speaking to my client. We had no idea that this hearing was going on. You gave me no notice, no opportunity. You pulled me out of the house, so I can't choose option one. Then he says, go ahead.
Here's what I'm trying to understand. What I'm trying to understand is, one, have you filed a complaint, a judicial complaint against this judge for overstepping his bounds? Two, did the judge who was overseeing the case, has he said anything about this guy stepping in and just assuming control of this?
So that's your question. Yes, there was a grievance filed by myself against the judge.
Got it.
He also filed one against me, and the original judge did not step in. What ended up happening the rest of the day is I said I have to pick option two, and he gave me interrogatories, which are formal legal questions provided by opposing counsel. Opposing counsel starts asking me questions. When I try to object, the judge threatens me. You're not allowed to object. If you continue to object, I'm going to put you in jail. So I'm answering these questions under duress. I don't have documents. He's asking me about stuff that I felt.
And questions persist, and you eventually get put in jail. So
no. So he lets me go, but he tells me that I have 10 days to produce the documents.
Okay, so this happened in May. This happened in May.
Yes.
Okay, this happened in May. All right, so you file a lawsuit. Okay, where does the case stand? First of all, has the appellate court ruled on this case?
So what ended up happening is the appellate court ended up quashing the appeal. They never end up ruling on the matter that was on appeal. However, while it was on appeal, he issues a contempt order against me.
Wow.
When he didn't have. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, wow. I mean, I'm just trying to understand. I've never heard of, a case waiting an appellate decision and the judge stepping in here. I got about 60 seconds left. I got to ask you this question here. All right, so you filed a lawsuit. You filed it against this judge?
Yes, I filed it against this judge. But while the lawsuit was pending, he comes back when I'm at a hearing in August the 9th. I'm at a hearing and he causes me to be arrested. And then he leaves me in jail for 21 days. And I had no ability to get out. In Pennsylvania, when you're picked up on a warrant, such as I was picked up on, you have 72 hours to get released. He refused to hear my case within 72 hours and left me incarcerated. We tried to file an emergency motion to get me out based on my civil rights being violated under the 72-hour rule. And he refused. I wrote a check while being shackled in court on August the 21st. And after writing a check just to try to settle the case, it remained in jail for another week. And that's after we settled the case.
That is absolutely crazy. Well, hopefully you will get some recourse in this absolutely crazy case. I've never heard of a judge, again, having somebody brought in and then they're shackled in order. You got 15 minutes to settle a civil suit. That's just absolutely crazy. So let us know what happens next.
All right, thank you.
That is, but this goes to show you, Lauren, again, the crazy legal system we have. And for all those people out there, Lauren, who say judges don't matter.
Thank you.
Well, there we are. Obviously, judges do matter. There's some antebellum South stuff, but it's not in the South. It's in Allegheny County in Pennsylvania. I don't understand how this hasn't been dealt with already. Obviously, it's almost like it was kidnapping or something. It's sort of a strange situation. Anytime you talk about shackles as somebody with a nonviolent offense, and in this case, a civil litigation moment, it makes no sense. It sounds like the judge has some sort of had some sort of attitude of, I'm going to show this guy, I'm going to show you, who's in charge here, and obviously overstepped his authority.
The thing I tell people all the time, Reese, is understand judges have significant power. I mean, look at the judge. Remember the woman in Philadelphia in the Meek Mill case, the decision that she made? And so again, it trips me out when I hear these people who say, oh man, these judges that abide that point, that shit don't mean nothing. I'm like, you out your damn mind.
Right. And this judge.
And this is not a federal judge, but whether you're a federal judge, a state judge, or a local judge, judges have power, and they can abuse that power.
Well, that's the key point, is the abuse of power. I mean, he wasn't vested this power, but he was able to weaponize the appearance of having power to get the police to do what he wants to do, to get the prisons and the jails to go along with what seems to me to be false imprisonment and, like Lauren said, kidnapping. And I would add extortion, okay? When you are basically doing the bidding of a business owner to extort money, tens of thousands of dollars, out of a person under duress. This is absolutely an outrage and disgusting. And unfortunately, this person, without any other recourse, is on the bench until 2030. And so it absolutely does matter who you put on the bench. It matters who you elect, who will appoint judges in cases where judges are appointed. And so this is just another one of those issues. And the fact that this is civil and it's turning into a carceral situation for an attorney, throw respectability politics out the window. There's no profession, there's no socioeconomic class that can shield you from being Black and from white power being weaponized against you.
Look, we see what happens here, and again, you can be an attorney, Greg. It don't matter when one of these judges get a bug up their asses. And keep in mind, was it I'm trying to remember, was it Connecticut or was it Pennsylvania, where you had that judge who was in cahoots and he got a whole lot of money and he was throwing Black kids in those that private prison? Again, This is why I keep trying to warn people. Stop sitting here saying that these judicial races don't matter. They don't matter until one of your family member get in trouble.
That's exactly right. And as Reese said, he's on the bench till 2030. It's an elected position. I don't know who this guy Ignelzi is. I don't know what his record is. I know he practiced many years in the courts there in Western Pennsylvania. But, it's very important. I mean, there are a couple of things. I mean, first of all, if this is for any law student who's taking professional responsibility at law school, or any lawyer will tell you this has the potential not even to be over with this foolishness, because this boy then filed a lawsuit. Not a lawsuit. He's filed a complaint with the Pennsylvania Disciplinary Board against Brother Bernard. That might interfere with his ability to practice law. Now, Bernard, of course, has filed a complaint with the Pennsylvania Judicial Conduct Board against Ignelzi. But as you asked him, Roland, this becomes very curious because, Judge Hertzberg, the original judge, the judge who was on the case who said he exercised exclusive jurisdiction, ain't opened his mouth yet. Now, both those investigations are ongoing, but it reinforces another point that needs to be made. Just like there's a blue wall among the bounty hunters that we call the police, there's a black road wall among judges.
Yep.
So you have to be real careful. I mean, y'all gonna back this boy on this? But I tell you what, if he prevails on it, watch how it flips very quickly. And finally, this man wrote an $80,000 check and still went to jail. I ain't got $80,000 to write a check for. Now, I can't even imagine what that felt like. Because at the end of the day, if you get in the grips of one of these people like this and the system is not going to back you, this guy clearly thinks he can get away wherever the hell he wants to get away with. And that becomes a system that when we turn on it and people want to know why, you can pull this case up and add it to the litany of abuses.
And there you go. All right, folks, that is it for us. Lauren, Reese, Greg, I appreciate y'all being on today's panel. Thank you so very much. All of y'all who are on YouTube, if y'all had not hit the like button, hit the like button, y'all. It ain't that hard. Hit the like button. It impacts the algorithm. Trust me, that impacts the revenue we generate. Speaking of revenue, support us in what we do. Join our Bring the Fuck fan club. Send your check and money order to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And of course, support us in what we do. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. And be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available at bookstores nationwide. Of course, Target, Books A Million. Get it from Barnes & Noble, Amazon. Order the audio version on Audible. Folks, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Shout out to my Houston Astros. They beat the hell out of the Texas Rangers. 16 home runs in that series. We coming for y'all asses. And the rest of y'all people who the Yankees fans, yeah, I'm sorry. Y'all in last place. Deal with it. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Holla! Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland. Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?